I can tell you that every potato, which is a basic food, has the most deadly pesticide in it of any food that we have. And it's there in the fiber. I know. You buy an apple, another basic food, and you're buying a lethal dose of arsenic of lead because it's sprayed 4 times during its maturity. And that is in the fiber. People say, oh, I peel it. It's not in the peeling. It's in the fiber itself as well. What are we up to now? They radiate your food to keep it as long as it can't decay because there's no action left when that radiation hits it. What are we going to do about all this? Your government will tell you there isn't enough there to cause any trouble. I tell you, it's accumulative in your system when you keep putting it in. I found it. And it's basically back of many, many problems that we're facing today that are very common. Then we go into another field, the air. Do you realize that you have no oxygen to breathe? Very little. You're losing your balance. You can't think. You can't sleep. You feel terrible. You have no energy. That's one of the first complaints that I get. I have no energy. I simply can't hardly get through the day. Why don't you have energy? Because energy requires oxygen. I get phone calls from coast to coast and even from across the waters with the same complaint. When I went to investigate it, I found there are several reasons, and I had a little experience of my own. The air is filled with carbon monoxide. What does that come from? The fossil fuels that are burned in our cars, mostly. Not entirely, but mostly. It is the unburned carbons in this fuel that takes the oxygen out of the air and out of your bloodstream. The arterial blood has no oxygen to carry to every other cell in the body. These are important things. And I've heard so many wonderful things here with our speakers. They have found part of the answer to most of them. I've only found part. We're only there at that point right now. We need to put all these things together so we can make it a whole picture. But we are learning where the problems are coming. Even the birds are falling out of the air because they have no oxygen to fly with. Now, I have talked to one of the head men at Sandia, who's in that department, and he said, do you know the condors are falling and we don't know why? I said, no, I didn't know they were, but I know they will fall because the large birds require more oxygen than smaller ones. But it had already been happening. Our government knows about it, but they don't know what to do about it. So there again, we're left out here without any hope or help, really. So these are the things. This is not really what I intended to follow in my talk. But it seemed to me, listening to our speakers here, talking to people, and having a background that I have, I felt that we needed to get this operation out to the people so they will know they're not dealing with something that can't be individually corrected. 7 deadly radiated isotopes along with it. Now, I check all of this. I know exactly what's going on, and fortunately, I know how we can individually change it, help ourselves. And the amazing part of it is, we don't have to go to the drugstore and spend $35 or $40 or $50 for something to do it. Go to your kitchen. Pick up a package of soda, baking soda, and it will neutralize all of these deadly energy flows that we have. But it isn't dignified enough to be used in the professional field. I once had a friend who was a surgeon, and he said, "What do you do for dysentery?" I said, "Well, I use cornstarch." He said, "My God, I wouldn't dare use that." I said, "Look, call it anything you want to, but help your people." These are the things that we run up against, the simpler things that we have, and you have them all. That's why I'm interested in getting this information to you, because it is handy. We don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. And you know, I found another thing. Money don't grow on trees usually. So it's not always easy to come by. If this, and this is not the only thing now, I'm going back to what they call the flu. There was not a live entity in this. It was an energy. Now, friends, all of the work I do, all of the evaluations I make, is based on the flow of energy. If we can understand just a little of that, we can help ourselves to a very great extent. People need help today.